Hello, everyone. Do you know what are the meanings of lingua franca, Pidgin, and Creole? If you don't know, don't worry. This video got the answers. Let's imagine that only four people survived from an airplane accident, but all of them speak different languages, and they need to communicate each other.
Where is water? I want.
Đồ đưa ta, cậu ấy ta.
Air.
Therefore, they simplify their languages and create a new code.
Air.
Mair.
Mar.
Mair.
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 For this reason, this new code doesn't have native speakers, so it's called Pidgin. Pidgin starts in a multilingual situation, and it needs at least two different languages to create Pidgin.
Hi, welcome to our presentation. How was our performance? I hope you understand what we tried to tell you, and I hope you enjoy with it. So, next let's talk about a Pidgin definition. So, Pidgin in my definition is the language which there is no native speaker. But what is the definition in linguistic way? Let's see. Pidgin in linguistic way is simplified form of speech from one or more existing languages and used as a lingua franca by people who have no other language in common. Pidgin also known as auxiliary language. But for R.L. Trash and Peter Stockwell say that Pidgin is nobody's mother tongue. And it's not a real language at all because there is no elaborate grammar and it is very limited in what they can convey. Also, different people speak differently. Still, for simple purpose, it doesn't work and often everybody in the area learn to handle it. And this is the definition of Pidgin.
So, this is the picture of country. Names of countries where pidgins are spoken are shown in red, like Gambia, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Ghana, Cameroon, Nigeria. Let's see about the example. For the first one, how are you? So, pidgin in Nigeria says, how you day? How na? How far? How body? Something like that. For example 2, in English we would say, I want to eat or I am hungry. But pidgin Nigeria says, I want chop or I day age. So if somebody in Nigeria say, how far? They didn't mean like how far from here to school, but they mean like how are you? So let's say how far to Nigerian people. That's very cute.
What about Creole? Imagine that after a certain time, the survivors fall in love and they have a child. The child will learn the Pidgin as a first language, so this will be called Creole.
Mair.
Mair. Mair. Oh, okay.
Mair. Yalla.
Yalla.
Arigatur. Arigatur.
A Creole is a pidgin, but it acquires a native speakers. Many pidgins now with Creole languages because they have a children and the children learn that pidgins be their first language. And when it's a first language of student, of course the children have ability to use that language more fluent than their parents. The vocabulary, how about the structures, the children will be a better. In short, it's like Creole, which is a better version of Pidgins because it's more fluent than Pidgins because they have a native speakers. For example of language use is developed from new generation, like Thai language, Tamarai, which means what do you do? And when the next generations come, and they will shorten the sentence, will be like Tamrai. Tamrai is more easy and is short and easy to understand and more fluently, but it's maybe it's not formal, but the meaning was still the same, is what do you do? Yeah, this is the example of language development. In a Creole is the same. Some sentence was long as 5 to 6 words, maybe short to be 3 words, but meaning still the same, because the language user was fluent in it.
Okay, and we're gonna move to theories of origin in Creole study and theoretical linguistics. The main research effort in the Pidgin and Creole study had been to find a principal explanation for the genesis of languages involved. There is an implicit assumption that the Creole languages share some property that called explanation theory. What property? This is depend on theory concern. Any of four properties are assumed to play a role. 1. Creole languages are often assumed to be more alike than other languages. As we will see, Creole share many structural features, and many researchers believe that these resemblances cannot be simply due to the similarity between the language of Western Europe or accidental. 2. Creole languages are often assumed to be more simple than other languages. There is widespread belief that Creole languages are not just morphologically, but also syntactically and phonologically simpler than other languages.
And number 3, Creole languages are often assumed to have more mixed grammars than other languages. Many people have drawn parallels between language and biology. When thinking of Creoles, it is assumed that just as many speakers of Creole languages have mixed African, European, Asian, and in some cases Amerindian ancestry, the languages they speak are likewise simply and a combination of a bit of European vocabulary with some African or Asian syntax and semantics. And number 4, Pidgin and Creole languages are often assumed to exhibit much more internal variability than other languages. They are assumed to be highly dynamic language systems and often coexist with their lexifier languages in the some speech community. These assumptions play a role in the various theories of Creole origin that have been proposed. The theories of origin have been developed in part to explain the assumed similarity, simplicity, mixing, and variability of the Creole languages.
One day, a group of sailors who can speak English as a second language come and find survivors, and they need to communicate. Luckily, one of the survivors is the native English speakers, so they can communicate, and the survivors are eventually rescued.
So horrible.
How long have you been here?
About 10 years.
Oh my god. We need to help them.
Go! We need help.
So, Lingua Franca is a language used for communication between groups of people who speak different language. Lingua Francas are often pre-existing languages with native speakers.
Okay, let's talk about lingua franca. First, we should know about the definition of lingua franca. As Sheldon Hofer
tell the definition is a lingua franca stands for common language used for communication between people who do not share their first language. Successful communication between speakers who do not share first language demands a language that is measured by both interlocutors. The language used in such situation could be either a native language, often of the interlocutor, or language acquired as a foreign language by both parties. A language used in such setting is known under the term lingua franca. As Jennifer Jenkins, a linguist studying the EFL phenomenon, described lingua franca as follows. A lingua franca is a contact language used among people who do not share their first language and commonly understood to mean a second language of its speakers. Next, we talk about former lingua francas of the history. The term lingua franca or Frankish language originates from the Middle Age of between the 18th century and 19th century, where the Mediterranean its term signifying a pidgin based on Italian and French, which was developed by the traders or used for illegible communication. The New Encyclopedia Britannica. However, a language holding a status of a lingua franca already appeared in ancient times when the riches of a Roman Empire spread from the Mediterranean, Europe, and touched Africa and Asia. Latin held to status of dominant language. Latin was also used by Roman Catholic Church extensively in European culture, law, science, philosophy, and religion. It remained a lingua franca among European scholars until the 18th century. Encyclopedia Britannica Lingua Franca. Even to this day, supported by fledgling of science as a study and simultaneous spread of Latin. Many terms used in medicine or philosophy originate from Latin.
From Encyclopedia Britannica, lingua franca says that another language acting as a lingua franca both in the past and the present day is Portuguese. During the age of exploration occurring in the 15th to 18th centuries, where Portugal belonged to one of the major European colonizers, Portuguese served as a lingua franca in distinct parts of Africa and Asia, where it was used for trade and diplomatic purposes. And also, from the book by Nicholas Osler, page 37 said, languages such as Egyptian, Chinese, French, Greek, Latin, Hebrew, or Arabic all held a status of lingua franca in the past, acting as a contact language among people who did not share their first language together. And also, by the same book from Nicholas Osler, page 39 said that a language achieved such a status either by military expansion, economic power, which is believed to be the major factor in English becoming the world lingua franca, or by religious power such as Hebrew with Judaism. All of the languages that I've mentioned before develop a significant position as lingua franca in distinct parts of the world. However, English is a language that spread around the world and surpassed other languages that had the potential to achieve a dominant role in the past. Currently, English is the mother tongue to more than 375 million people around the world. English has not only spread among its speakers, but has also entered most spheres of society. It is an official language of many world organizations, air transport. It is dominant in technology, science, publishing, education, media, international trade, as well as politics. From Bjorkman's page 3 said that due to such a great impact of English in the present world, English can nowadays be marked as the world's lingua franca.